Please listen carefully.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hypothetical Siblings podcast. My name is Nick.
My name is Lainey.
We're a little bit... We had a good start. We had two good starts, and then audio foibles have resulted in a not-so-triumphant return.
I actually think our first one was like grade A material. And
That's all we put out is the highest quality.
Literally the highest, we could do. And technology was just not having it. Robots hate us.
True. But anyway, we have been gone for a while. Almost 2 years a while. We were talking about it previously. There's not really a reason that we were gone, besides the fact that we just stopped.
Yeah, both of us just didn't talk about it 1 week. Like, we just stopped, both of us, at the same time.
It was one of those where, it just didn't get brought up, and then we didn't do it, and I think we both assumed that the other person just didn't want to do it anymore, and then we didn't.
And then we didn't do it for
2 years.
2 years.
And then we said, why don't we do the podcast anymore? That's a fun thing for us to do.
Yeah. And some people in our lives were like, why don't you do the podcast anymore? That's funny. That's a good time.
Funny. It's a good time.
It's a good time, bro.
It is a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's probably the most consistent I've ever been with anything in my life, doing something for 28 weeks, well, 29 weeks, because we had that 1 week skip where we upgraded our audio quality.
True.
Which unfortunately is like 21 episodes in.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was so late in. I thought that we got that figured out way sooner.
Well, I think what it was is that we didn't realize how bad it was to how good it could be.
Literally.
How easily, right? And then we just went and did it. And I'm kind of surprised that didn't reinvigorate us in terms of wanting to do it, of having that higher fidelity. But whatever. We're here now. That's what matters. The Germans will be happy that we have returned.
Yes, our German audience. I want you to know that I have made a German friend.
Oh, you did I met the German friend. Wow.
Yeah, I really enjoy her company.
What if, let's talk conspiracy theory here for a minute. What if she is only your friend because she discovered you on the podcast and then came and sought you out?
I would believe that, except that's not who she is.
Well, that's what she wants you to think.
Well, she's a great actor if that's what's actually happening.
Well done, German friend. So, Lainey.
Yes.
What have you been up to for 2 years?
Wow.
You stepped.
I've failed at speaking for a good portion of it.
Yeah, but that's what's beautiful about this podcast is that we're terrible at speaking.
True. Yeah, we're not trained speakers, but is anyone? I mean, Mom has a communications degree.
Maybe a politician.
Ew.
A comedian.
Ew.
A radio show host, a podcaster.
I am good with a radio show.
Yeah, you want the shock jock. We've talked about
the shock jock.
I know. Yeah.
I have the same job. So I've been at that job for 2 years.
Damn.
Yeah.
I guess I have the same job too.
But I was listening to our old episodes and we were talking about me getting that job.
Yeah.
And I still have that job.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. I have been doing college and succeeding, which is nice.
Good, do college, yes.
I have moved out, moved home, moved places. I've moved so much.
Did you move out, home, out, places, and then home again? Or is that too many out and homes? I think it was out, place, and then home. Only 3.
Yeah, if you don't count the dorms.
Yeah, the dorms count for a half.
Yeah.
The dorms are a live on your own, but not really, because there's a person that's still responsible for making sure you're not dead.
Yeah. The dorms are so fun. Not even gonna lie. I had a great time.
It is an apartment complex full of freshly released captive animals.
Yes.
And so while I recognize its beauty as a place where literally anything is possible, I also kind of hate it.
Yeah, I respect that.
I'm an old man and always have been. And so at 18 years old, yeah, I'm up at 1 a.m. because I'm 18 and, I'm addicted to my phone. But also shut the fuck up. Like, I don't want to be up at 2 a.m. and have it be loud. I want to be up at 2 a.m. and have it be silent.
Yeah. We had pretty good, like, upstairs neighbors, so that wasn't an issue. Mm-hmm. I just loved the spontaneity of it all. Like, you open your door to go to class in the morning and there's bagels on the ground and you don't know why. But they're there.
You just opened the bagels on the floor?
Yeah, and not like somebody had left a bagel package. I am talking
like
naked bagels, like somebody threw on the ground or dropped or something and left there. And that is beauty.
There was an event that happened involving bagels.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. So
it's like John Mulaney talks about when you see an abandoned wheelchair.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, you hope it was a miracle.
Yeah.
But it probably wasn't.
So
you, in 2 years, you have done school and have the same job.
Yeah, that is so boring.
I don't know. It's the same thing for me, right? I took a year off of school. I stopped school. You have at least stayed consistent with that.
Yeah, I took 1 semester off, but
I went and did the unnamed sports retailer job full time. I ran a whole fishing department. Well, that's not explicitly true. I co-managed a whole fishing department, and got to see what it was like. And it sounds really weird because like I feel immature saying it, but I got to see what it's like to have like a full-time adult job. Because we've only worked, we're young enough that we've only worked part-time jobs because we've always been in school or had other stuff going on. And so it's a very strange thing to get used to going to the same building to work a job as not really a career, but like a test of a career, and kind of see what that side of life is like. Now, I don't think it's a good representation of what most folks do because it's not a 9 to 5. It kind of is, but the schedule is so much more flexible because it is retail.
Right, and so many younger kids do work there.
Right, and so you're still interacting with people that are so much younger than you, which I think is kind of a, like, what's the word I want to use? It's like a cloak for the vortex, right? Like it makes you feel like you're not in a very mature position because so many of your coworkers are still 18 or younger in some instances, right?
Yeah.
But it's a good job. I definitely like it. I just switched back to part-time 4 weeks ago, something like that. Part-time work fucking rocks.
Oh, yeah?
Well, you're so used to being responsible for so many things at this place, and now I just get to walk in there and just sell things and not have to worry about, ordering product and where it is on the floor and is my customer presentation good and, all these external factors where now I'm like, people are like, hey, I want this knife. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to go get that knife for you. And that's the end of it. And then if it's not in the right place, I'll be like, all right, here's the display. Good luck.
Yeah, see, my job part-time I prefer to be full-time because you get in such a flow when you're in full-time. Like you are, or at least for me, I'm killing, like I'm in such a good place. I know where everything is. I know what to do. I know, you know what I mean? And when I get reduced so much during school, I still love it, but I just don't feel as on top of it anymore. And so somebody's like, hey, where's this? I don't know.
That was immediate, is people would ask me where things were in the fishing department because they had come to rely on me for that information. And within a week and a half, I very quickly did not know where things were.
Yep.
I still knew mostly where they were, but I used to be able to walk up to a peg in an aisle and be like, this is the item that you were looking for. And very quickly, that was not the case.
Yep.
So, big changes, but not really changes. They're more like reversions.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like you were doing school when we started this and you stopped and then you are in school again.
I got the year confused with my age. because they're so close. And I thought for a moment that we had done this 4 years ago and I was in school and now was still in school. No, that's not the case. Don't be wrong.
Not true.
I should be out of school according to the university system. But it's one of those things where I've really had to come to terms with working at my own pace.
Yep.
There was a lot of pressure put on me by no one other than myself to come back and take a full load the first semester. And I think that I would have been crushed. And being 3 weeks into school now, I can tell you that I would have been crushed and freaked out and bailed immediately.
Yep.
And so it's one of those where going back and only taking a couple of classes, you know, being a part-time student and a part-time employee, like that's an okay thing to do.
Yep.
One of my buddies I was talking to, and he's, you know, he is a teacher. And so I think he was kind of doing the pedant thing where he's, hey, how you doing, bud? You know, everything okay at home type beat. But he was kind of reassuring me. He's like, dude, we're at the point in our lives now where why not just work part-time for like 3 years and finish school and take that time to do so? Now, I don't want to do that because I don't want to be in school until I'm 27. Right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I appreciate that notion that there are people out there that feel that that's okay. And I think that's a pretty common feeling that people either, you know, feel it's okay or at the very least don't give a shit. And the people who do care are not people that I care to listen to.
Yeah. I, on the other hand, will be in school till I'm 27 because the goal is vet school, and that's 4 years on top of my undergrad. So I will be in school forever. But c'est la vie, as I've said already tonight, because that's just how it is. And I don't mind because I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. It's good to be passionate about work. And that's something that I've realized, especially working full time for a year, is that there is a lot of bullshit people will put up with if they get to be excited about what they do.
Yep, absolutely.
And in my instance, that's not necessarily like no one's excited about retail. You know, no one wakes up and is like, God, I want to go fucking stock some shelves. Like, but being passionate about the things that you do sell. So I love to fish and hunt and shoot and do all of these things. I should not bang on the table. I'm having to relearn like podcast etiquette.
Podcast rules. Dems de rules.
But I think that, you know, the bullshit parts of the job are kind of covered up by that you're around all of the things that you like to do.
Absolutely.
Like I feel like it'd be very similar if I worked at something like a Best Buy or something like that because I am so techie as well.
Yep.
But you working around and with animals all day, right?
The dream.
Even if that means sometimes being covered in a litany of bodily fluids at any given moment.
And you know what? It's not even that bad.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, it's not the normal ones. Like, people get blood on them. People get, you know, sometimes
I don't care about blood.
Them.
I don't care about pee, and I don't care about spit.
Well, yeah, spit's like whatever. You just wipe it off.
Yeah.
But like, and it's not just, because you don't go, and this is going to get really gross. Sorry, all of you that are squeamish. But like, it's not just poop. Because like a dog poop, like a solid dog poop, you're like,
right,
whatever.
Solid,
you know, pick it up with your Target grocery bag that you brought along on the walk or whatever it is. It is the like fire hose diarrhea.
Cat diarrhea is so, and maybe it's just because we don't have cats. We've not grown up around cats.
What a triumphant return to the podcast that we only make it 13 minutes in and it's like, yo, cat diarrhea.
Bro, cat diarrhea? Damn.
Oh, Jesus.
Nature, you scary.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then it's like the insides of the animal too that you have to deal with.
So like when animals get obstructed,
Yeah,
so they swallow things they're not supposed to, and they get blockages. A bunch of like fluid fills up their stomach and stuff. Mm-hmm. That smells foul.
Yeah, the body relies on running consistently, and when it is prevented from running consistently, the bad happens.
So much bad happens.
Yeah,
so much.
But outside of being gross, I don't even know. How did we just get onto that? Oh, talking about doing what you love, even if it means being covered in bodily fluid. Because, you know.
Because that's, yeah.
I think what I'm seeing, I thought your lamp was changing colors, but I think it's the, like, other lights in the room that are going from very cool light against the warm lamp to then going to very warm light because it's going through the rainbow.
Totally.
And so I keep thinking the lamp is like blinking because it's out of the corner of my eye.
Oh.
It's very distracting, very disconcerting.
I want you all to know that we are in cozy place.
Yeah, so we started the podcast in the Sog House, which is not a cozy place. In fact, that's maybe the worst place.
Yeah, we had a fun time, don't get me wrong, but there's only so long you can spend in the Sog House before it gets too much.
Correct. And then there was it Podloft and then Void?
Podloft and then Void.
And then Void, and then I think it ended in Void.
Ended in Void.
And now we actually recorded in this same place when it was not this same place, which is nice and vague, which is how I'd like to keep it for the listener.
Yeah.
But it is a much cozier place now than it was when we recorded here previously. It's a much...
I've made this house into a home.
She's a nester. She's nesting.
I told Nick earlier, I'm a maximalist. You know minimalist? Nah. Give me all the trinkets. A box for my trinkets.
The tchotchkes.
The tchotchkes.
Isn't there?
The knickknacks.
The knickknacks. Yes, there was another
Knick-knack,
word. That's
paddywhack.
exactly what I was thinking.
That has your name. I can't believe you didn't remember it.
Well, it's Knick, not Nick. You know.
But you don't say it that way.
Yeah, we should. Knickknacks.
Knickknacks.
That's much more fun.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Objectively.
So in preparation for coming back to the podcast, do you have anything else that you would like to talk about in regard to your 2 years that you were not here?
Nope.
Because it really feels like I should have more to talk about in the past 2 years, but without bringing up like, I don't know, like friends, personal relationships. Like I don't really want to sit here and talk about that, not because I wouldn't be comfortable sharing it, but I kind of feel like who gives a shit?
Literally, who gives a shit?
Yeah, I mean, there are people that listen to this podcast, and I know listen to this podcast, that do care about me and my personal relationships. That is not the majority of them.
Well, and also those people probably talk to you about it anyway.
That's true.
They know what's going on already.
Yeah, that's true. Or at least hear it through the family grapevine.
Yep, true.
Which sometimes people come... Yeah, have you had like the family member that's not nuclear or is even like post-nuclear that comes at you with some shit? You're like, I didn't say that to anyone except for one person, and now all of you know about it.
Literally. Yeah, you think you can trust mom, and you can trust mom with like you can trust mom
Lainey
with
lights mom up on the podcast for nothing.
You can trust her with the sensitive stuff, but if it's like mildly, it's some tea, you tell mom just a little bit of tea, nothing incriminating. Boy, the family will know.
Oh yeah.
Or at least her family, her side.
Back to the work thing. That's what I found out very quickly. And I think pretty much every workplace gossips, because I think that a lot of humanity, I forget where I heard it. There was something I watched one time that was talking, or maybe I read it, but whatever. That I came into contact with. I came across this information that part of the reason that society developed along the lines that it did is that gossip became a thing, right? And because it is so stimulating to the brain, and that it's this weird social thing where you are sharing facts that have value, but only to yourself and the people that you're talking about, that it encourages conversation, and that stimulates the brain, and so the brain being stimulated grows bigger, right? Over time through evolution, of course, not like, single,
in the moment,
like galaxy brain
my
expanding.
brain is getting so big right now, you have no idea.
Right. And so, workplaces gossip too, but it's one of those where you very quickly find out that there are plenty of people in the building that don't have enough to do and will sit there and be focal points for this gossip. Yeah. And so once you find that the news has reached that person, you can be assured that the news has reached the rest of everyone. And it was really this horrible thing where it got to the point that I didn't feel comfortable telling anyone anything, not because I didn't trust that individual, but because that circle of trust changes person to person and who they're willing to tell. Right. And that chain, right, goes on to a point that eventually it gets to the person that's just going to tell everyone within earshot. And so the office politics and, I don't like the way that he's been speaking to me, and I don't like this thing that she said, and it's just fucking exhausting. I'm like, how do all of you not have enough to do? Because like I could very well fill my day and work incredibly hard, right? I'm not saying that I did, but I'm not going to sit here and claim that I worked my ass off every day, because especially towards the end of it, I didn't care. And I didn't want to be the guy that knew he was going part-time and didn't care. But I think that at least like the last week, there was definitely that very laissez-faire attitude of just kind of phoning it in. But anyway, yeah, 2 years, man. That's fucking crazy.
That is crazy.
But I don't know. Like, I feel, because we didn't talk a whole lot about ourselves. I mean, we have the first part of this podcast that is about ourselves and our weeks and wacky things that happen to us. But I don't feel like, listening to that in retrospect, which we did do. We went back through some of the old podcast and kind of listened to it to kind of get back
Reignited our passion.
Reignited our passion. That's some Instagram influencer bullshit right there. Grade A.
How do you know I'm not an influencer?
I've seen your Instagram follower count. You're not an influencer.
What if I have a secret Instagram?
A Finsta?
No.
Isn't that what that is?
I mean, fake
But isn't a secret Instagram is a Finsta, right?
There are things that a Finsta is for.
Okay.
Like posting.
Like crime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crime and like just your shit thoughts.
Shit thoughts.
You're like, damn, I'm depressed today, LOL. And it's like some blurry ass picture or like a deep fried meme. That's Finsta.
I see.
I wouldn't call a secret influencer account a Finsta. That's just your secret influencer account.
So this conversation has made me feel old, and it's reminded me that going back to a college campus after you have not been there for a minute, and especially now that I am 24, you get the positive outlook and you look back and, 18 wasn't that long ago. No, 18 was forever ago. Mm-hmm. Those are children that require supervision and juice boxes. They should not be allowed to be taking out hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans.
And most of them look young, but like still adultish. But there are some that look like they're 12 years old. Oh my God.
Absolutely. No, it's kind of incredible because it's just, I mean, I've always been bad with looking at people and being able to decipher age.
Yeah.
But they could be anywhere from like you're saying, like 12. Like there's definitely kids on campus that I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's a 12-year-old. Mm-hmm. Or you have the guy in your class that's like, 40.
Literally.
Which shout out to that guy because that must suck. But also every one of those guys that I have come across specifically in my classes fucking sucks.
Oh my God. I thought you were going to say so many of them that I've encountered have been great students.
You find, well, they might be good students, but like the ones in my classes are always like weird and confrontational with the professor, but like during class, like I'm not going to go to office hours and talk shit to you or, discuss what I think is wrong. I'm going to sit here and hash it out for the next 5 minutes and all of you are going to sit here and watch.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of those guys happening, which is not great. Not great. But I am at a point now where I will say something. Like, I will also raise my hand and get involved.
Oh, shit.
And be like, I think we need to move along with the lecture. Like, I haven't done exactly that, offensive, not offensive, not that forward. Yeah, not that confrontational. But I definitely have raised my hand and like tried to say something to get us to move along, or just way off topic out of left field, raise my hand and like ask a question about the slide that's up.
Yeah.
Just to derail their bullshit.
Yeah. Derail the bullshit.
Which maybe makes all the rest of the class uncomfortable, but
my
work for a year was dealing with assholes like you. Mm-hmm. I came here to sit in a room full of people that were not that.
Literally.
Because that's fascinating too, is going back to a place where you have a room full of people that are educated to a certain degree and for the most part act like it.
Totally.
Whereas, and there's nothing wrong with not getting a college education, but there is something to be said for the room full of people that have paid to be there and have to get something of their money back.
Especially when you get upper division classes, because those are the people that generally really care about what they're doing.
Right. This isn't, Business 103.
Oh my God.
Which I love that I've just decided that business is its own class.
Well, business majors, not to offend any business majors, but goddamn am I scared of you.
I want to get involved with the frat boys so badly.
No.
Like, I want to be the old friend that's like hanging out. Like, I get in my little suit on Mondays
like
and
that,
walk around.
Have you seen that episode of Bob's Burgers where he does that?
No.
He like goes to a frat house and is just their old friend.
I love it. I'm here for it.
I mean, it's hilarious because it's Bob's Burgers.
I want a video of me on a table crushing a beer can on my head and like shouting at people about being a pledge or whatever. Like, I don't want to actually be in the frat. I just want to be around. Like, I want to be a camp follower of the frat, you know?
Just to an agent of chaos, if you will.
Yeah. An element.
An element.
Yes. Vermin actual, if you will.
Little gremlin man, if you will.
Rat 2-3. Yeah. But anyway, so we've successfully filled 25 minutes worth of bullshit of 2 years of being gone from the podcast.
Right.
What's up with all of you guys? I know you can't respond. I've actually been thinking that it'd be a really fascinating thing to try and stream this.
Ooh.
Right? So even if it's just still audio, because I don't know how you feel about like showing your face to the world. I get hesitant about that because we've done this and there are people who know us only by our voices. Every time I have known someone only by their voice, like through social media, like YouTube and Twitch and things like this, and then seen their face, I have only ever been disappointed.
Same.
Like every time I'm like, well, that's not what they look like.
Right,
though.
that's not what they look like.
Yeah,
and it's fake. And also part of me is thinking that I would like to get into vet school. And not that we've said anything like...
I don't know. There's some of the stuff that I listen to on the old podcast where I'm like, I'm not going to be a politician. Like, I knew that already, but like, this is free.
This is, I get famous and somebody digs some shit.
Yeah, and then you just get insta-canceled for, not that we've said anything like crazy.
Right.
Like, you don't go back and there's some crazy like racist, homophobic comment or anything, but I'm like, that's not a thing that I would like everyone to hear.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I was a little spicy sometimes.
Yeah.
And
Yep, me too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, there's only better to be, and I think that the majority of people can understand that, you know, what I've heard a lot of people that do social media stuff frequently talk about is if you just put a microphone or a camera on anyone long enough, they're gonna say or do or just have a look on their face that is some shit.
Yep.
You know? And so I think that the people out there that are reasonable people will understand that that's, you know, there are bad takes, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway.
All right, Nick. Would you like to introduce the topic?
Well, do you just want to keep going? Because in the past, what we've done is take a break.
What?
We used to take breaks halfway through the podcast.
I literally don't remember that.
You know, they say that memory is the first thing to go.
Looking forward to it.
And if it's going at our age, we don't got a lot long left.
No, true.
That's a
lot
short
long
life.
left.
Yeah.
Yep.
The brightest candles burn short. You know. I got a candle recently. I am a new candle owner.
We're just going to keep going
That's
on
fine.
bullshit.
We're not even at half an hour yet.
We usually take like 15 minutes at the beginning.
Like that's true.
That's literally true.
They're always an hour, and I feel like the first half hour is us talking about bullshit.
No, that's not true.
Well, you know what? Usually there's only a week between the podcasts, and this has been 2 years. So I feel like we can do an extended episode.
Okay.
You know?
I guess.
Why do you disagree? You got somewhere to be?
No.
You're hot to trot on a Saturday night?
Yeah. Hot to trot. That's exactly what I am at all
So
hours.
I should not have drank a soda before this because I keep
Now you're
having to like
burping.
lean away and
You're
burp.
burping. I used to think birds
And be
would
gross.
explode if they got Alka-Seltzer.
What do they not?
I don't know.
You just at some point decided that was not a real thing.
Have you seen that horrible video of that seagull on YouTube that's exploding, but it's fake?
No.
Oh, so I thought it was real.
Lainey got fake newsed into believing that seagulls explode?
Yeah, there's like somebody like feeds a seagull something and it explodes, like in Shrek when Fiona sings
like
and that bird explodes
on the tree branch and
and only its feet are left on the branch.
Yeah.
That basically was a video that I saw that somebody edited, and I was fully convinced it was real because it like drank soda or something.
Yeah.
And that's how gullible I am, and you need to know that if you're going to understand who I am.
Fact check
Please,
your seagull.
Please fact check.
Here's your return to the podcast title. Fact check your exploding seagull. That's it right there.
That is
episode 29, baby.
golden.
Yeah.
Gold standard.
But I will talk about my candle ownership before we get into the meat of this podcast. Okay. I was gifted a candle recently, which is not a thing that I have ever been gifted in my life. Mostly because I don't show interest in candles because I felt like I didn't care. It's like, I don't know what a regular sized candle is, but it's like that one right there. Not a 3-wick, but it's like a good sturdy, like comes in a jar type of thing.
Yeah.
I have had it for 2 weeks and have burned through half of it already. Because lighting candles is
so
fucking awesome.
Fun. So fun.
Like there's the scent, right? But there's also something to be said for just having like the little flame there.
People don't understand that candles are about flame. You know, like,
that's what I didn't understand.
Right. Yeah. Like everyone thinks that it's all about the smell. And
right.
You know what? I bet some people think it's all about the smell.
That's why they have not the vapor. I mean, I guess vaporizers too.
But the Sensies.
Yeah. Well, what?
The wax melters.
Yeah. You put like the cube on it and it melts and it releases the scent or whatever, right. You know, so there is a subset that is addicted to the scent of it. But I think that a lot of people, I agree. For me, it's definitely about having that little tiny dancing flame.
Don't get me wrong. I do enjoy a, smell every once in a while.
Things that I don't want to hear ever again for 300, Alex. Oh, he fucking died in the last 2 years. Holy shit.
I don't mean to laugh. I'm sorry. It was more Nick's reaction.
Lady is literally crying, laughing at the death of Alex Trebek. When we should be crying and laughing at the death of the queen.
Yeah,
fucking her. Come out, ye black and tans, baby.
Oh my god.
There is no North Ireland, there's only Ireland.
Did you see that meme that was like, we should stuff her and put her in like an Egyptian museum for...
Yeah, they take her back. No,
yeah.
I saw the ones that was like, no, while they're all mourning, run into the British Museum and take all your shit back. Storm it. Don't. Agreed. This is in Minecraft, that's fake. Not in real life. Don't storm the fucking British Museum.
This is in Minecraft. Keep in mind, we live in a Minecraft universe.
Do we? Is that what the Sog House is? Is like wet wool? Yes. Is that how it started?
Yes.
Was the first episode about Minecraft?
Yes, because I made a rainbow wool castle
in the
sky.
No, okay.
In the sky, and I trapped a bunch of villagers in it.
Then why was it wet if it was in the sky?
Because we were talking about if it was real. It would collect a lot of moisture.
Oh, all the condensation. Jesus Christ.
I have a friend...
Simply remember this conversation you had 2.5 years ago.
Right. I have a friend who played on a public Minecraft server, and I don't know how Minecraft works, so I apologize. Okay. But basically, this person and their friends built a giant prison and shut villagers into little cells and... like somehow got more resources or something out of it. And, some people came in and like destroyed it and let all the villagers loose.
Based.
So freeing the villagers.
Based prison destruction.
Yeah. So I just enjoyed that.
You know what that is?
What?
What that specific action is?
What?
That's some serial killer mentality. And that brings us to the topic of this week, because now we're 33 minutes in, right? Like, it was cute when it was like 30 or like 28, but now it's 33, and I'm looking at the number go up, and I'm like, oh, we need to fucking have content that's not us bullshitting.
Yeah.
So the hypothetical for this week is, what if you found out that one of your family members was a serial killer? And there's a couple of different ways that we can approach this. Is it you find out before they are caught? Is it finding out after they are caught, right? And then looking at it all in retrospect? I think the more fascinating conversation is finding out before they are caught, right? So you somehow come upon the information. Let's say that they don't know that you have this information, right?
Yeah, because otherwise I would just say you'd get murdered. I mean, I guess it depends what family member.
And so, do you think it depends on the family member or the variety of serial killer that they are? Right? Because what if you find out... So let's pick a relatable figure, right? So let's say like whatever your maternal figure is, because there's people that are listening to this that might not have both parents or whatever, or whatever the situation is, right? So let's say, or even just your guardian, right? You find out that your guardian is a serial killer, right? And without any other context, you don't know what variety of serial killer, you don't know how frequent, right? Because technically a serial killer can take place, I mean, one murder and then 10 years and then another murder. Is that not still a serial killer?
So David Berkowitz, who is the BTK killer, took an extremely long years hiatus.
He took a
of
vacation,
his own volition.
Man. Yeah, he took a vacation. You can't blame a guy. It's hard work, you know?
Yeah, what he was doing was hard work. Mm-hmm.
Is that
a... I didn't... I didn't mean for it to be a euphemism.
Well, no, I don't think that it's a euphemism because I don't know what variety he was.
Oh, so like BTK stands for bind, torture, kill.
Yeah, no, I rescind the comment about hard work. That was in poor taste.
Maybe a little.
A little bit.
Okay, I want to postulate that only certain types of serial killers can successfully create families. Because there are those that are extremely mentally ill to the point where they...
Yeah, it's like a subfunctional person. Like they can't keep their own shit together.
Jeffrey Dahmer, for example, was so mentally ill because he didn't enjoy the kill. He wanted a body. He wanted a dead body.
Sure.
So he was an alcoholic and he was constantly drunk and doing all this stuff and lived sort of a miserable life, which was not conducive, of course, to having a family. And not to mention that he was a gay man in the 70s.
You're the resident serial killer expert, and I'm realizing this only now that we've brought the topic up.
Yeah.
I'm going to say a lot of ignorant shit because I don't know. Because generally, and as a topic, serial killers are not fascinating to me. I think that the psychology, right? Because I think that's what a lot of people get hung up on is the psychology of a serial killer and how do you as a person get to this point that you are committing these crimes, right? And so that part of it doesn't interest me, but like I think maybe the legality of the situation, right? Or like how do you live a life in general and also be a serial killer? It is more like the logistics, I guess, is the interesting, like how do you not get caught type of thing.
Right.
So I'll start my ignorance. Jeffrey Dahmer is the one that ate people, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And necrophilia. So he basically wanted to, this is a graphic episode, by the way. Well, if I'm going to go in this direction.
So you said you were going to postulate that they are the type of serial killer that had a family.
Right. So John Wayne Gacy, David
Clown.
Okay. Yeah. David Berkowitz. Who else?
I don't know.
Mildly Ted Bundy, not really. Like he had a long-term girlfriend and she had a daughter, but he wasn't around them all the time. And especially when he was devolving at the end.
Yeah, wasn't like a proper nuclear family.
Exactly.
It was.
Whereas
he just kind of was a orbiting body. Gotcha.
Or the Golden State Killer had a legit family. His daughter is a doctor also. So like
I see the like part of your brain though that is a serial killer, and then I see the part that's a doctor, and they're really not that far apart.
No.
So that makes a lot of sense to me,
A lot of
actually.
people that are involved in medicine, I think, are true crime fans. Like
Sure.
when I started working where I do at the vet, almost all of those girls are like, true crime.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's interesting. But yeah, so you have to. There are different kinds, essentially.
Right. Okay. So the variety of killer that is the one that has a family, right? Or at least has these close personal relationships that, you could be around this guardian figure consistently and not expected of them or not see these flags, these warning signs. And then you come across, let's say, like a writing, like a journal of some variety, right? Because if it's pictures and stuff, that implies that there is a lot more graphic nature to it.
Yeah.
Whereas a writing, like an admission of, I killed again or whatever it is, right? So let's say that you come across a writing, some semblance of journal, or maybe it's just a regular journal, and it is a regular journal, but you come across an entry that like, I did it again, I had to hide the body, whatever, right? Which... already bad play as a serial killer.
Yeah, don't write down
evidence,
your thoughts.
Or like take pictures. There should be no.
There have been serial killers who have kept notes and things like that.
Oh, yeah, that's always what happens in the shows and stuff is they get caught because they have the shoebox full of pictures, and I'm like, what kind of stupid bullshit, But anyway, so you come across this information. What is your first move after finding this out? Do you go straight police? Because that's probably what you should do, right?
Right. So, okay. Depends on who it is.
Okay.
Because if
let's
it is...
say our mother, for the sake of the conversation.
Interesting that you go female.
Well, I just think it's less common.
Typical.
Right?
Yeah. I think I go to dad first.
Yeah, and be like, yo, are you aware that mom's murdering people?
Mm-hmm. And
he says, yeah, what about it? You're like, ooh.
Right. Because I am at the stage of life where I am technically an adult, but have not had a lot of life experience and often need guidance through things.
Understandably.
So,
yeah, I would probably need some guidance. I can respect that.
And if I'm going to throw my mother under the bus for being a killer, I need to know that it's accurate.
Yeah. Because, if it's vague enough to say I killed them and hid the body or whatever it is, that could be a person, yeah. It could also be like a feral cat. Right? Which is still fucked up and weird, but it's not a crime? Question mark? Do feral cats count as like varmints?
I don't know.
But it's not a murder.
Right. Yeah, it's that. Those are things that, you're right, are fucked up and weird, but we can live with that.
Yeah.
Sweep it under the rug.
I'm going to have some questions.
Encourage
probably
some therapy.
Hard conversations.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's, you're not, destroying the relationship.
Mm-hmm. But, if I go to dad and I say, yo, this girl, she's killing people. And he's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Then we're going to the police. There will be almost no circumstances in which I directly go to this person and say,
what the fuck is this?
You a killer or what? Because I'm not trying to get killed.
I mean, I have a gun. Probably in this situation, if I was going to make that confrontation, I would have a gun.
Right. I would get more witnesses.
Well, yeah, you get more witnesses or whatever it is. I think there is something to be said for trying to find out more. Because in my own fucked up head, if I find out that mom is like what's the show where he's a serial killer? Dexter. If I find out that mom's a Dexter,
maybe I'll leave it.
I might let that one slide.
Maybe leave it.
But keep an eye on it.
Right.
Yeah,
I support Dexter.
But then doesn't he kill people that are not serial killers? I'm talking specifically about killing only other serial killers. It's like having a spider in your house,
He has some slip-ups. But it's not like... I can't remember very well. I can't remember enough, but...
I'm saying in the overarching sense that he is a serial killer of serial killers, right?
Right.
Because if it is strictly that, and I can get any type of confirmation, and like 100% confirmation that is the case... Because
if you kill one killer, there's the same amount of killers, but if you kill two killers, there's one less.
Batman's fucking dumb. That's some dumb bullshit.
He'd be letting Joker escape. Dude, just kill him.
Just literally battering him in the eyes.
And who?
Or even blind him. You don't have to kill him. You know?
And that fucked up, corrupt police department, it's not going to do shit. Yeah. Also, you're Batman. And Bruce Wayne, pay him off.
Pay off the entire police department?
I don't know. Maybe just
You just said they were corrupt. They're just going to spend it on coke.
As long as you don't get turned in.
In
Batman, not in real life.
In Minecraft.
We're not talking about
Minecraft.
Minecraft. We're still talking about Minecraft, okay? None of this is real.
No. So again, I think I would try to seek out more information or flip through the rest of the journal, see if there was mention of because serial killers have habits, right? Mm-hmm. So if there was a particular area where they went to dispose of bodies.
Yeah, dump bodies.
I would take a Saturday, grab a lunchbox and a shovel and go looking, Mm-hmm. Is there an amount of time, I am not a legal professional by any stretch. You could probably tell that by the everything about me. Is there an amount of time that you know about this and don't report it that you are an accessory to the crime?
I believe so.
Do you know what that amount of time is?
Absolutely not.
Good.
And I don't know if it's solely knowing about it. Okay. I think that in some way you have to cover or purposely omit information to the police because then you're an obstruction of justice.
Right. So if you have all of this information and continue to gain information and then go to the police and are completely honest, mm-hmm. are you then not an accomplice, right? Because you didn't help the crime.
Yeah, I don't.
You didn't cover up the crime.
Because it's like sleuthing almost. Because there are people who are internet sleuths or PIs or that kind of thing.
They'd go investigate cryptids or whatever.
And it's probably a little different if you are in relation to this person. I'm going to say you would want to go with a lawyer.
Like to the crime scene?
No, like if you gather
to the police,
all this information.
Bring my lawyer and all of the evidence that I have.
And you say, hi, lawyer, I would like to turn in my XYZ as a serial killer, but I want to make sure that I don't get...
Attorney-client privilege is fucking crazy. Because I pay you $1. I have now paid you for your legal counsel, right? Anything that I say, unless I am a danger to myself or others, just like a therapist, you cannot go tell people.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fucking wild. But yeah, so I would go looking for more evidence to try and figure out exactly what the situation was. I would not go straight to the police like I probably should.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
No, me too, because there's that selfish part of you that this is somebody that you care about.
Yeah, it's part of my family. It's a very close person in my life. Like, I don't want to immediately throw them under the bus, but I think the greater part of it is I don't want to believe that they are the person that is capable of something like this, especially if it's to the degree of, like you're saying, the bind, torture, kill, right? Or something that graphic. If they're just like, it's horrible to say, but you start drawing lines of like, if they just go kill a person and it's a knife to the neck or whatever it is, right? That's a lot different than knock them out, drag them home, and like pick at them.
Right. You know? Like electrical burn or like slice them or nip them and you get off on that, then I am readily turning that. I mean, not that I wouldn't if they just like shot someone in the head or that was their MO, you know, but like you're right that there is a much more urgent level if they are doing that sort of torturous stuff.
You find I mean, not that this is feasible, at least in the place that we live, but you find the concrete room with the metal chair and the blood on the ground, you know, and the car battery in the corner.
Literally,
you know?
Yeah.
Like those are very different things, at least in my mind. Well, you want to talk about never being a politician? This is the fucking episode for it. Shooting people's not that bad, you know?
That would play on so many smear campaigns you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
Like, so a lot of serial killer families who it's been revealed, hey, your dad just got arrested for being a serial killer.
Yeah.
A lot of those people have claimed to have no inkling. And I think that a lot of people are like, you knew. But that's not true. Like, if there are certain... And in some cases, yes, I agree. Like, John Wayne Gacy's wife, like, he had the garage to himself. He was putting bodies in the floor of the garage, and it, like, reeked in there. Well, sure. She never went in there. Yeah. There was shady shit happening all the time.
Yeah.
And denial's just so strong.
And that's what I think it is. It's not that they didn't know. You know, I mean, they might not have known consciously, right? Because at the point that you know consciously, like you have irrefutable evidence, then there's definitely, you know, some level of weight on your shoulders. But I think that for a lot of those people, they do know subconsciously for a long time. But like you're saying, that denial is just forcing them to omit that information.
Well, and also part of it is they might not know it's serial killer. What if they just think it's cheating or some weird sex thing and that they do?
They don't want to go be a part of that, or they don't want to involve themselves or admit that part of it. And that, you know, kind of self-developed cover story is enough to keep them blind to what actually is happening.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
So yeah, you find out how bad it is. So let's, you know, divert down the two paths here. You find out that it is a serial killer of serial killers, right? What is your next move?
That's so interesting because in that case, I think I would have a conversation with them, but I would get someone to be there because
I think there's pressure if you're like, hey, me and Nick are both sitting down here and it's like, hey, we know you're a serial killer, but we're kind of cool with it.
Right.
Whereas if you have that conversation individually but have another person close by, right, like out of sight or something, so you have that kind of weight of backup, in case things go really wrong and they are crazy and try to, murder you by extension or whatever it is. But they can feel like you're the only person who knows. You're the only point of contact outside of that, right? Mm-hmm. Even though that is assuredly inherently more dangerous, right?
Yeah. The other thing too is, Dexter's a show, obviously, and there are things that happen in that show that cannot happen in real life.
Right.
Certain things that are like, that would never happen. So and so would figure out, blah, blah, blah. And he was a forensic analyst, mm-hmm.
Which
aided a lot in his ability to get away with the crime. Right. And so I think, I don't want to say I'm going to turn him in, but I think I would, even if it was a serial killer, because there's not enough serial killers, I don't think.
Yeah, well, yeah, you got to wonder, like, if they get to the point that they run out of what would be their standard prey.
Right.
Right. Do they still have that compulsion to switch over to someone who is not the original type of target, right? Mm-hmm. If we're talking about it in the context that is boiled down to a predator, right? If a predator runs out of its given prey, in many situations, it will switch to something else because it still needs to fulfill that requirement.
Exactly. Well, and if you build up this violent urge for so long, regardless of who it's towards, I agree. I think that you have to keep going regardless of the victim.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is that there are some people that I think should not be allowed to live in this world freely in terms of like their crimes, for example, child porn people. Like that's just not something that should exist.
There is a degree of crime that is so beyond any thought of like helping this person, mm-hmm. that you are so far gone, right? I thought you were going to go, when you say free, I was thinking that you were going to go full like benevolent dictator and like they go in the pit.
Right.
Like it's just gunshot to the back of the head, mm-hmm. against a wall with a cigarette in their mouth, But
at the same time, the way that our legal system works, I think that, if you end up just killing the bad guy, sometimes the rest of the operation is able to continue. Because if you are secretly killing a ringleader or something, what if another guy's just going to step up?
Oh, so you're saying in a context where they are not the only actor?
Yeah.
So this is a group of serial killers now?
Right. Or like Dexter would kill like, serial molesters and stuff like that. Sure. Or a leader of a drug ring.
Yeah, you
that
go
sort of thing.
Instead of being...
Which are often serial killers.
Right. But instead of being a serial killer of serial killers, you're now doing like a Punisher, where mm-hmm. it's, you commit crimes of a grave nature.
Right.
And that's kind of a blanket statement where it's like, mm-hmm. oh, you're a white supremacist who commits hate crimes, or you're mm-hmm. a serial killer, you are a, pedophile of some degree, mm-hmm. right? Whatever it is,
right.
That does get more fascinating, in the scope of it, right? Mm-hmm. Because, you might not be the only actor in that situation.
Right. And is it going to help their victims if you kill one person and another person just steps up? Does anybody really get justice out of that?
Right.
Because that's the whole thing I would be... The point of Dexter is like he saves certain people, and it prevents horrible, mm-hmm. horrific crimes from happening by committing horrific mm-hmm. crimes. But if there is no one really being saved, then then what's the point?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we've explored they are some type of benevolent serial killer. And I think that's, not a fantasy per se, but that's the part of this that we want to talk about.
Right.
Let's talk about the other side of it, that they are a serial killer, a bog standard, I kill people and hide the bodies. We don't need to get into the depths of what a profile is for this particular individual or anything like that, but they are killing people. Let's leave the, BTK type stuff out of it. But they are going and killing, what would be innocent people and then disposing of the body. is it just straight to the police?
Yeah. I mean, if again, I would investigate a little bit.
Well, and that's where I think, because you can't, I don't know, like the legal system is flawed. Like every system is flawed. I mean, humans are flawed. And so the organizations that we construct are inherently flawed because they are made by us. I would investigate long enough to get some hard, you are going to forever prison and maybe to death row evidence. I don't know, like I've never had to do it. Thank God, come across the situation in which you get something so grave that you have to cut someone out of your life, right?
Yep.
I don't think I'd have a problem with it.
No, me neither.
The cutting off. I would definitely have the emotional scarring of having had to do it. Mm-hmm. But there is a degree, and this is that degree of, crime or action or whatever you want to call it, that it gets to this point and no, I don't need to be around you. I want you to go down.
Yeah. There is, I think you and I are both similar in that our emotions run high.
Yeah.
And that means that if you are somebody so close to me and I found out you are doing terrible shit, I am so betrayed that I am past the point of giving a fuck about what happens to you.
Yeah.
Like you deserve all that's coming to you, no matter how long we've known each other, how close we've been.
Well, in this situation, our entire lives. I mean, the woman that raised us, right?
Right. Any of our family members, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Even
but I still think that if it's estranged one degree, if it's an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, whatever it is, that is still easier, I think, than
absolutely.
The nuclear family.
Yeah.
But I agree. I mean, any one of our family members that would get to that level of, atrocity effectively, that once they get to that point and I find out about it, there's no like, I'm crying over that you're going to prison. Mm-hmm. I'm crying because I feel betrayed and ashamed that you were ever a part of my family.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and there's this guilt of how did I not see it?
Right. How could I have been so blind as to not be a part of stopping this earlier?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to be honest, I would never trust anyone ever again.
Oh no, I mean the damage that has to do to you just mentally and emotionally. I mean, good luck ever having a close relationship again, because now you're looking at everyone you've ever known and going, what don't I know about you?
Right, because if somebody that close to you is that way,
right,
it's over.
Well, and so this links into one of our topics that we've discussed before, I think, that is the I can read people's minds, or the Absolute Truth podcast, right, where I ask you this and you tell it to me. And at the time I had said, no, I'm going to everyone I know and asking what you think of me. Yeah. That's what this is.
Yeah.
Is eliminating all shadow of a doubt that if you have my back, you have my back, and if you don't, then you don't.
Right.
Right. It's the same thing here, but that's the desire in that instance, is eliminating that feeling. And obviously this is not so grave. Like I don't have I guess I don't think that I have weird trust issues, right? But it's that fear, that gap, right, that exists, that you can never really be sure.
Exactly. Yep. So you're going down.
Yeah, and hard, and as fast as I have concrete damn proof. Like if I go and, read the journal and find that there is the graveyard, right? I'm going to go and make sure. Right. Because if I get there and there's not shit, and then there's all the evidence is admissible or whatever it might be, I don't want to be. But like you're saying, our emotions, like you and I specifically, because I feel like it's true of a lot of our family, but that you and I really seem to be particular individuals for this, and I don't know why. We do run hot emotionally, and I think that if I went to the police and there was the trial and all of the evidence was dismissed and there's no proof that this is the case, I might go crazy.
Yeah.
Like I might
Lock
be like,
me up.
Well, I'm like, here's my fucking vigilante streak. Right? Like, I'm going to fucking solve this problem.
Right. Well, especially if it's irrefutable evidence. If you go and you see a body, maybe you even see them like with a body on, doing whatever.
Right. Here's the CCTV footage of them dragging what is assuredly a body through the corner of a 7-Eleven parking lot or something, right?
And something happens, that evidence gets destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Or if there's a weird ass legal technicality that
Right.
gets the case dismissed,
Yeah.
I'm done. Like, you don't get to...
And here's the thing. Now you have a serial killer that you tried to make go down.
Right.
That is free.
Right. And
like,
regardless...
you have to fucking disappear.
Mm-hmm. And regardless of their relationship to you, if you are that fucked up in your mind, there's no safety anymore.
Right.
You're done. Yeah. So
in my mind, that is I don't know, like, because you could probably pretty easily, and now we're just talking about committing crimes, right? But we're like, you could probably pretty easily be like, yeah, they came after me with a knife, and so I murdered them back, know?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, because here's the thing, if it's to that degree, there's going to be a split in the family of who believes who, right? Because, if the court didn't decide that, then it's not true. Whereas there's the other people, it's like, there's video footage, there's a journal full of all of this shit. I don't feel like you can ever fully extricate yourself from that familial group. That's a move across the country and start over by your fucking self.
Yep. And the other thing is, denial is so strong, too, that if, like you're saying, if the court says no, there are people who are going to latch onto that and say, nope, in a legal sense, free as a bird. And I would have to leave because I couldn't listen to that bullshit. Like you're saying, I just couldn't deal with it. I think that I literally would end up in a psych ward. I'm not even
so you don't think that it's actionable for you to just get away and get out? You think that it has to be you just lose your mind and you're straight in the padded room?
Mm-hmm. I think, like emotionally, right? We've talked about, I am so easily like...
But so you get so thrown off, you don't think that you could do anything? Like, it wouldn't be a runaway or solve the problem yourself. It'd just be like a total breakdown, can't go anywhere, can't do anything?
Initially, I think so. At least initially. Sure. Like,
at least. You're walking out of that courthouse and it's the full, like, I can't walk because I am so distressed. Yeah.
Right. I would, like, if I full body sobbed when... Spoilers for the newest Spider-Man movie. If I full body sobbed when Andrew Garfield was able to save Zendaya as MJ,
right,
I would not survive this event. If that's what it takes for me in the movie theater to be, heaving in breaths and like
racked with sorrow,
then a crisis event like this would not go well.
No, probably not.
So, I at least would need psychiatric treatment for a while.
Well, I think everyone would need it, right? It's just a matter of, like, I don't know, how quickly you as a person progress to the next step of whatever it is. Because you have to move on. Right? Because you die or you move on, right?
Yep.
But it's how quick you get to that point, because you better recover fucking fast, because they're assuredly coming after you. Well, but then if you end up dead, like,
shady.
Well, isn't there not what's it called? It's not like a double penalty. What is it? Double penalty? There's some term where it's like you can't be tried for the same thing twice.
Oh yeah, I don't know what it's called, but that's true. You can't.
That's gonna bug the shit out of me.
AKA OJ.
Right.
And so the only reason that he got put in prison or jail? Sure. I think prison.
Yeah. Because he's in for like ever or whatever.
Well, no, he's out.
He's out now?
He's been out.
Oh.
But he didn't go to jail for like first degree murder because that case was proved, he got acquitted.
Acquitted? Yeah, that's a word. It's a legal word.
So his the woman's family sued him for wrongful death or something like that.
Well, so that's the thing, is you may get out of criminal court, but then civil court is an entirely separate. They can get after you for whatever and have a whole new trial.
Because they don't have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt is criminal court, but civil court is you do not have, it's way less. The standard of proof is way less. So you can get indicted a lot easier that
Well, it's
way.
like, okay, so you go through the criminal court and they're like, no, she's not a serial killer or whatever. And you're like, okay, we're going to civil court and you're going to pay me for fucking damages.
Yeah. Emotional. Yeah.
The time that I spent having to come to the courthouse because we thought you were a serial killer. Yeah, no, I'm getting paid for that shit.
I am getting paid.
Yeah, get my fucking fat stack, disappear to the other side of the country. This is definitely like ruining the master plan here. But okay, so they get through the criminal court and are acquitted. Do you go for the civil court and like sit in a penthouse with a shotgun pointed at the door until the trial's over? Or do you disappear?
I got to try for civil.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's not about just me.
Yeah, it's justice for everyone that was killed and such
right,
like
and
that.
could be
Sure.
potentially killed in the future.
Okay.
You know, and so I got to try for the civil first.
Yeah.
And hopefully I have a good enough lawyer.
Sure.
You know, and maybe I'll fuck the internet up a little bit and be like, hey, yo, here's the reasons why my mom's a serial killer. And
then you go to the public. We cancel mom.
We cancel her. Yeah, exactly. So
this is for no one. This is not for the audio listeners. But you know that one lawyer in town? Yeah. That's who I'm fucking hiring.
No, you cannot.
He's got me.
No.
He's got me all the way.
Oh my God.
I'm going to be on a billboard and everything.
A trashy ass lawyer.
You know,
No.
So as much as trashy bugs me, I am a firm believer that there is just a small level of trashy that adds to existence. Like a tastefully trashy ass tattoo. Mint. Absolutely mint. Okay. To kind of end this, because we're really running up the timer here.
Oh, we are.
I mean, we're right on track-ish. But as we get out of what is, I mean, like, I don't think this whole particular episode is going to be a downer for anybody, or at least I hope that it's not.
Yeah,
right?
God, I hope not.
However, I do want to kind of pull back a little bit and like go not maybe to a high note, but just a little bit lighter conversation. You have to flee your current home state. It's because they are now free to try and murder you. So you have to disappear. Where are you disappearing to? Where's your hideaway, runaway, start a new life type thing?
You're going to love this.
Am
okay,
I?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Scotland, cow farm. Boom.
A cattle farm in Scotland. Well, so first of all, I think sheep is more
or
prevalent,
Ireland?
but some variety of farm animal in Scotland
Or Ireland?
is your. I mean, you can do either. Those are both places that exist. Why do you ask it like it's a
well,
question?
I just didn't know if one was more notable.
I'm pretty sure it's sheep either way. I mean, I'm sure there are
Sheep.
cows there, but I think
or
sheep
like
is the
Highland cows, man.
Oh yeah, with the
long
shaggy
hair.
hair and the big horns.
I don't
and
need
yeah.
human contact, and these are my friends now.
I feel well. I mean, you're already mentally broken, so yeah, go be friends with sheep
Yeah.
or cows or whatever.
Be friends with both of them. I'll get ducks. I really would like some ducks.
So Scotland, Highlands. I don't feel like that's a bad place. I feel like the pseudo or somewhat alcoholic nature of Ireland is probably not going to be good for my emotional damage. Because it'd be like, drown it in a pint, my boy.
Right.
And I'm like,
And I will.
And I will. Well, I don't know. Have you ever tried fucking Guinness?
No.
You should, so you can understand that it's not great.
Yeah.
What, like, thick liquid. Like, it is not quite
Viscous?
syrupy.
No.
But it's, like, along those lines. Like, it's a hearty soup that's a beer.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, that's not great.
I also might pick... Don't get me wrong, I am proud of the Scotland-Ireland pick. I still might pick, like, a Scotland-Ireland, but between the culture of drinking, the weather of, like, it's just rainy and bullshit all of the time, I might go maybe, like, a Spain.
Interesting.
You know, similar... Because I think the play is to switch countries. Because they're going to have a harder time getting to you, right? But I feel like a Spain... I was going to say France. I have no desire to go to France.
No, me neither.
For an extended
maybe
period.
the south of France, because it's more...
Wine country? Is that a thing? Wine country?
I don't know. I was just going to say more rural. So
it is more
it's
rural,
more about
surely.
the environment.
I want to visit France. I don't want to live there.
No.
Partially because what's going on there. Second, the French.
I heard they hate Americans. I don't know if it's true.
I don't. Yeah,
I've
we're
never
just relying on
met a
stereotypes now.
French person.
I really thought you were going to come at me with, I've never met a French person that I liked.
Oh my God.
I really thought you were going to go for the deep cut. I was like, yo, fuck.
Yo, damn.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I've just never met a French person.
I have met 2 French people.
You know what?
Neither of which I knew well.
Oh.
One was a customer at the store that I work at. She was very upset. She believed that the airsoft guns and things that were in plastic, like clamshell packaging, were actual firearms that you could buy for like $30.
I can see why that would upset you.
But it wasn't like she was like angry or like crying. Like she was just throwing her hands in the air and like going off in French. And you're like,
I don't know what you're saying.
Well, and she's talking to her host family or whatever it is, and they're like laughing at her because not like at her, but like, hey, it's all right. That's not what you think it is, type thing. But then 50 feet to the left, there's just a 3,000 square foot area of firearms.
Right.
So poor the French.
Poor the French. They've been through so much.
To be large, they have been through a lot. That's true. There was the whole Nazi invasion. That wasn't great. Much of history before the World Wars. I mean, there's all the War of the Three Roses. That was pretty much English. There's a lot of the French suffering that was caused by the French. They really love to revolt against themselves.
Viva la revolution!
Every 200 years, you kind of have to just, storm the Bastille. Just rip apart a couple of nobles and call it good.
Right, guillotine some people.
Yeah, you got to get it out of your system, man.
Mm-hmm. This took a weird turn.
This did take a weird turn, yeah.
Or, you know what? I would like to go to Greece, I think.
Ooh. I saw some Grecian houses recently, I think in like an ad on YouTube. And like there's something about the aesthetic of bright blue ocean in the background with like the stained white walls.
Ooh, yeah.
That's just that super high contrast.
Live that Mamma Mia life.
Absolutely. I've never watched Mamma Mia.
You should.
No, I shouldn't.
I love it.
One of the other podcasts I listened to, one of the men on it recently watched Mamma Mia at the behest of his wife and relayed to me the story of Mamma Mia. What the fuck is that? What kind of psychotic emotional damage is one of these 3 men is my father? Let me invite all of them to my wedding that is tomorrow.
They're all her father in their hearts.
That's horseshit. That's weird, emotionally damaging garbage.
I mean, maybe.
I don't know. There's not a Mamma Mia fan. Maybe I'll watch it one day.
We'll watch it.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much brings us to a close here. Mm-hmm. We go to lighten the mood and end up hating on the French and also Mamma Mia.
To be clear, I don't hate Mamma Mia.
To be clear, I probably hate Mamma Mia. I don't hate the French.
I don't hate the French.
I am predispositioned to maybe not like them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, agreed.
But here we are.
Agreed.
Anyway, folks, thanks for joining us for our, again, I've said it like 3 times. Reinstatement, yeah, into like these people's schedules. Or I was going to say triumphant return again, but I've used that like 4 times.
Really? I feel like I've never heard you say that.
I've said it at least 2 other times on this podcast, good. In this episode.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
In this, yeah.
But we're back. We're going to make this a weekly thing again. We are happy to be back. We're happy to have you listening to us. And hope that you're in it for the long run, because we absolutely are. Give me a high five. Yeah, that's a good audio spike right there.
High five. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. All right, guys. Have a good rest of your week, and we will see you next. We haven't said when we're going to post these. Next Sunday. Sunday we're posting these?
Right.
Okay, we're posting these on Sundays.
Don't forget to email us if you have
God, yeah.
Don't forget. If you have any inquiries about us, about serial killers,
you have thoughts on
anything.
What you would do to your serial killer guardian or person that was close to you.
Email us about anything.
Send your email to our email, which is
hypotheticalsiblings@gmail.com.
Once again, that's
hypotheticalsiblings@gmail.com.
hypothetical siblings@gmail.com.
Thank you so much and have a good week.
Have a good week, everybody.